Kentucky Ag Commissioner James Comer, and we'll have some video of your presentation you'd outside, but tell us in summary kind of why you're here and what you guys are talking about.
One of the biggest problems we have in America right now, and particularly in Eastern Kentucky, is people out of work, long-term unemployment. Some of this I think is because of the administration's war on coal. We want to let people know that we're standing up and trying to fight for their jobs. We also want to know that we're trying to create new economic opportunity. So we have a plan called Economic Freedom Zones that would dramatically lower federal taxes and leave more money in the community. So for Jackson, our plan would actually leave $13 million in Jackson County over the next 10 years.
Now, when you say economic freedom zones, how soon is that a reality for Jackson County taxpayers?
As soon as Harry Reid wakes up and lets us have a vote on the bill.
So it's a done deal?
Yeah.
Close to a done deal?
No, not really. It could happen anytime, but we have to have a majority in Washington decide that this is a good idea. Right now, many Republicans think it's a good idea to lower taxes in economically depressed areas with high unemployment, but many Democrats don't agree with us yet. So until we come to an agreement on that, really we have an impasse. And that's kind of where we are in Washington. A lot of good things could happen, but there's a lot of bickering going on and not much good is happening.
Now, one thing that did get passed, and I know that you were a part of the spearheading of SB 50, and it was passed at the state level first, and we were kind of waiting on the feds to catch up with the agricultural bill of 2014. Summarize us as far as people that don't know what SB 50 is and where we're heading with that.
I think we're talking about legalizing the growing of industrial hemp. And hemp is a product, it's a plant, it's like a weed, it grows in poor soil. So our hope is that some communities, my guess is Jackson County is not a big corn or soybean producer, but it might be something that could grow in the soil around here. It could be a cash crop to replace things like tobacco, and it might be something that could be a new industry for us. Hemp could be made into paper, clothes, and actually may be able to be used in the dashboards of cars. Currently, car dashboards are made out of a plant grown in Indonesia. Wouldn't it be great to grow that plant in Kentucky, make the dashboards, and put them into vehicles that are actually made in Kentucky? So this opens up a whole new industry if we get some of the laws out of the way to allow people to grow hemp. And the state crossed the hurdle with Commissioner Comer's leadership. We have now had it added to the Farm Bill in Washington. So really, I think within the next year, I think Commissioner Comer is convinced that there's going to be farmers growing hemp this year in Kentucky.
We're talking to Senator Rand Paul here on PRTC TV Channel 9. And marijuana, hot button issue, has been for the last couple of years, getting hotter as we go along. Many people, when they think of hemp, they think of rope, or they think of marijuana. People don't know the Declaration of Independence was signed on hemp. 1850, we produced 40,000 tons of industrial hemp here in Kentucky. We were the nation's leader, and if I'm not mistaken, we're the only nation in the world, industrialized nation, that doesn't do industrial hemp. It's overwhelming as far as the support for this bill.
Somehow in the war on drugs over many years, marijuana and hemp got put together. They're similar plants, and there can be some mistaken identification. However, Commissioner Comer has set up the process through the legislation such that a farmer will get a permit, the local sheriff will know where it's being grown, and really what I'm told is people who grow marijuana illegally, in fact we had somebody complain to us today who says you're going to ruin marijuana because hemp will dilute the potency of their marijuana. So I think people who are wanting to grow things illegally won't go anywhere near a farm. Plus the farms will be inspected probably periodically by the ag department. So I don't really have a great concern there. I think that it just was people not thinking beyond into something that really could be a cash crop for Kentucky. So I think there's a great potential for it, and we're hoping it's successful.
Now this, the industrial hemp, that it's already in effect. Kentucky legislature passed it, and you guys, I think you and Mitch McConnell, different ones, made sure it was part of the Agricultural Act of 2014. My understanding is it's like a 5-year pilot program. Talk to us about the implementation and how that, let's say someone says, hey, you know, I'd love to be involved in this. How's this going to unfold?
Those questions are going to probably be better to go through Commissioner Comer because he'll be in charge of the process. And if you ask him those questions, he may be able to let you know more on it. But I know there will be some farmers growing hemp, whether it's through an ag program or through a university. I don't know the exact details of how it's going to work. but this year there will be people growing hemp. I'm for expanding it as rapidly as possible. There are actually people that actually take the seeds from it and make it into an oil that's made into soap. And it's a pretty big soap industry and cosmetic industry out there. So there's a lot of things that we could do this. The plant would have to be stored in warehouses like tobacco, dried and processed. There's a lot of potential new industries, and we could be the leading state if we get moving on this. So I'm for getting it moving as fast as we can.
Well, I even saw that they were even using it in a Lotus sports car, and they call it an eco car. People don't realize they were using it not only in the seats, they were using in the body panels. The uses and the possibilities of hemp are vast.
Yep, and I think it has great potential, so we're hoping it will be successful.
I know you got a busy tour. Thanks for stopping in and seeing us for a few minutes. Rand Paul, U.S. Senator here on PRTC TV Channel 9. Welcome back to PRTC TV Channel 9. We're here with the Kentucky Agriculture Commissioner, James Comer. James, thanks for stopping by.
Good to be here.
Now, you are here today with Senator Rand Paul, and we are talking about economic freedom zones. And one thing that I know you have been really involved with that we didn't get a chance to hear from you guys talk about outside, but it is coming, and that is legalization of industrial hemp. Talk to us about how that got started with SB 50.
Well, in August of 2012, Senator Paul and I announced at the Kentucky State Fair, because the State Fair is a showcase of agriculture, we announced that we were going to push an initiative to make industrial hemp a reality in Kentucky. And hopefully everyone knows the difference between industrial hemp and marijuana. They're two different plants in the same plant family, kind of like broccoli and cauliflower are two different plants in the same plant family. So industrial hemp is an agriculture crop that has wrongfully been banned from the United States for almost a century. So Senator Paul agreed that this is something we should pursue in Kentucky. We traveled the state, educated people on the difference between industrial hemp and marijuana. We educated the people on the fact that this could be an agriculture crop that could have potential. It would be another tool in the toolbox for farmers, and it could lead to processing jobs for all the different types of uses of hemp that would have to be processed in Kentucky. So it was a win-win situation. We were able to get the bill passed, Senate Bill 50, as you mentioned, in Frankfort. We turned right around and went to Washington, D.C. Senator Paul lobbied very hard for it in Washington, and it passed last week. We announced today in Knott County that the Department of Agriculture is going to set up 5 initial pilot programs, 2 of which will be in Eastern Kentucky. And we are going to work with the universities. That's what the legislation says, which was in the Farm Bill. So we have 5 different universities on board: University of Kentucky, University of Louisville, Kentucky State University, Murray State, and Eastern Kentucky University so far are going to work with the Department of Agriculture on pilot programs, and we've got a lot of questions answered. Each pilot program is going to be a different variety of seed from a different country. We don't know which variety of seeds will grow best on which type of soil. It may grow well in Jackson County, one variety, but it may not grow well in Monroe County, where I'm from. We don't know what the best date to plant, what the best date to harvest, which types of farm equipment would be best to harvest it. So from a production standpoint, and I'm a farmer too, we've got a lot of questions we need to answer before we can grow this on a larger scale. So we're excited and very appreciative of Senator Paul that we've taken the first step here, and for the first time since World War II, you're going to see industrial hemp seeds planted in Kentucky.
Now, you mentioned industrial hemp. You can get on the internet. Most people think of hemp, they think of rope, or they think of an illegal drug. And over 160 years ago, pre-Civil War, Kentucky was the #1 hemp producing state in the country. I think it was like something like 40,000 tons was produced. So bringing that back, but it's not just about hemp. You had mentioned we could be getting into ginseng and honeybees.
Absolutely.
Talk to us about that.
Well, we look at Eastern Kentucky and I see a lot of potential. But we're going to have to think outside the box, because we can't grow corn and soybeans on a large scale in Eastern Kentucky like we do in Western Kentucky because of the terrain. We should have more food production in Eastern Kentucky. Almost all the food is imported. This is a model program for Eastern Kentucky. That's why I wanted Senator Paul to see this today. It's just a great facility here. But we're going to have to think outside the box and look at what can we do with the land that we have in Eastern Kentucky. We should be the leading ginseng producing state in not only in the United States, but in the world. And instead of processing this ginseng, we have lots of sang diggers, as we say out there, that dig ginseng. They sell it to a guy that sells it to another guy that sells it to another guy. It ends up being processed in Asia. Why can't we process that in eastern Kentucky? So that's a project we're going to work with UPIKE on. Morehead State's very interested in doing research with orchards. One of the largest orchards in Kentucky is in Harlan County. Mr. Creech has an orchard on top of Black Mountain. Trees grow well in the mountains, obviously. Why don't we have more orchards in eastern Kentucky? With the new hybrid fruit trees, you can plant a tree and it can be in production in 3 years. So that's something we're going to push. We're going to work with each university in eastern Kentucky on a different type of niche agricultural enterprise. Eastern Kentucky University has been doing a lot of research with honeybees. Kentucky should be the honeybee capital of the world. So we've got to think outside the box. We've got to work together. We announced a strategic plan for agriculture specifically for Appalachia today in Knott County, and we're traveling around eastern Kentucky today and tomorrow to kind of tout the program, and hopefully we can make a difference.
Now this is a 5-year pilot program, but obviously the hopes is that this is just going to be the beginning.
Yeah.
Now when we talk about these things starting creating jobs, so you start them at the university level, get an idea of how the plan works best, and then it should go into the individuals that can go ahead and take that idea and run with it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I believe that it's initially for 5 years, but I believe that Senator Paul, Congressman Massey, the congressmen that are very educated on the issue, they can deregulate this very quickly. Once we prove this is not a drug and this is an agricultural crop that will grow well in Kentucky, that has many uses and is in high demand, that it's economically viable, I believe that legislation will pass and allow us to proceed forward without having to go through the universities, and that's what we need.
So is Kentucky, are any other states doing something similar to what we're doing as well?
They are, but I think we're the leading state right now, and hopefully we can make this a hub for manufacturing facilities that will come in and process industrial hemp grown on Kentucky family farms.
You talked about honeybees, you talked about ginseng, you talked about orchards and industrial hemp. Is that the 4 we're talking about, or is there one I'm missing?
Well, there are 5 points to the plan. The plan involved economic freedom zones. It's a 50-page plan, and we'll get you a copy of it. So it's a very thorough, very detailed plan. A lot of people say, well, I have a jobs plan, and their plan basically says we need to create more jobs. This is a very specific plan, working with high schools, working with colleges and universities, working with our federal delegation, working with our state legislators. Branding initiative, the Appalachia Proud. We're very proud of a new branding initiative with Kentucky Proud. We talk about how to better spend coal severance tax funds. So there are a lot of details in our 5-point plan, but the part about agriculture, it's thinking outside the box, not just your traditional cows, plows, and sows, but honeybee production. We love what you do here in Jackson County, where you take fruit and vegetables and add value to them here at this processing facility. We want to see more of that. This is a model program that should be replicated throughout all of eastern Kentucky. So that's kind of what we talked about today.
Talking with Kentucky Agricultural Commissioner James Comer. I know you got a busy schedule. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
And
Good
we'll
to be back
again,
in Jackson County.
All right, good to see you.
Right.
We've had the chance to hear from not only our state representative Marie Rader, also U.S. Senator Rand Paul, and Kentucky Ag Commissioner James Comer. Economic freedom zones, industrial hemp, all this research doing with honeybees and ginseng and so many different things. A lot of exciting things that could eventually mean jobs, not only in Kentucky, but also here in Jackson and Annville County with these economic freedom zones, and also this research being done with industrial hemp and honeybees and ginseng. So some exciting things happening, and we want to make sure you heard about it, and you heard about it here on PRTC TV Channel 9. Thanks for joining us.